Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Gotanye Service to celebrate the birthday of Shinran Shonin. Today we have a very special service because we have our guest minister today from San Fernando, Reverend Stacy Reardon, who will be presenting us with our Dharma message, one for the kids and one for us regular older people. I'd like to thank everybody for making time. It was a very busy weekend for a lot of people, so it's good to see so many faces this morning. So at this time, Reverend Reardon is going to lead us in the chanting of, what are we doing? She's going to start with Shishin Rai, and then she will do the pronouncement of service, and then we will all join her with the Jumi Rai, page 49.
We gathered together today to observe Gotanye, or the birthday of Shinran Shonin, which occurred on May 21st, 1173. Today we express our gratitude for the writings, teachings, and work of Shinran Shonin, and for his interpretation of the Pure Land tradition that has become the Jodo Shinshu path we follow today. A path that encourages us to trust in the wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha's infinite light and life, and demonstrates understanding for our human flaws. Please join me in Gassho to express gratitude to Shinran Shonin on this day, May 17th, 2026, in observance of Gotanye. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Keshu tenin shokugyo Amida sen byozoku son Zai hi mi me onrako Muryo bushi shu ineo Honjiki shinjo Seno Shama Tagyon Yozobu 百姓蓮華子が将来見出そう面前炎上如万月以降有如千日月小如天空しら子が将来見出そう観音頂戴観中十主十名相法将軍のぶくげどまけやま子が将来見たそう無備無苦交渉上習得経血女国小さり役得自在子が将来見出そう実法名門菩薩衆無料小魔女三段一生修上願力自子が将来見出そう根体保険地小家前言症状名大座お膝上如線の子が将来見出そう実法将来勝負し変幻人図し安楽戦後尊厳上苦行子が将来見出そう小無常無我と薬尿水月伝養老一種説法無名字子が将来見出そう非尊不説無悪名薬無女人悪道夫主任死心教非尊子が将来見出そう非尊無料法勉強無少種悪知識往生不退死菩提子が将来見出そう我説非尊不独自修善無変如海水小逆 Namandabu, 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 Namandabu. Ganishikudoku, Byodo Seisai, Dohoten Bodaishi, Ojo Namandavs, 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 namandavs.
Namandavs.
Thank you. It was beautiful chanting with everybody today. Next, we'll have Oshoko by representatives of our groups. Let's start off with our Dharma school kids. Come on. Sangha teens. Junior library. Buddhist Women's Association. The Buddhist Temple. Thank you very much. It's really nice that we can have all three groups represented on a Sunday. Next, we're going to have Reverend Stacy Reardon give a Dharma message to the students, so the children. So if you're young at heart, you want them to come up closer, or are they okay where they are?
If they want to come closer, then
If you'd like to move up closer, you can move up closer.
people to move.
So please open your hearts and minds and ears to Reverend Stacy.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me? Okay, there we go. Namadavs. So Reverend Gibbs asked me to give like a regular talk and a kids talk, and he said a brief kids talk, but I talk fast. If I'm going too fast, give me like a sign or something, because I'm from New York, I can't tell. So let me know. But my talks are also kind of on the shorter side anyway, so. So I'm going to start with something for the adults, even though this is a kid's talk. So when my oldest daughter, my kids are there, it's my husband Eric, my daughter Rowan, and my daughter Charlotte. And when Rowan was born, we were too broke to afford daycare. So I literally brought her to work with me every day. She had like a pack and play next to my desk, and I would take her for walks, for lunch. And I started to see like the same woman. I'd say she's in her late 60s at the time. And, when you see somebody over and over again, you nod, hi. And then, you start to actually say hello. And then one day she was like, can I see the baby? And sure, so she looked in. And one day she stopped me and she said, when I see you with your baby, it reminds me of when I was young and I had my babies. And I thought, oh, that's so nice. And then she kind of looked up to the sky and closed her eyes, and she had this beautiful smile on her face. And she said, and I think about how now they're grown and I'm free. And as I had an infant, I was kind of huh. I didn't know how to take that. But I mean, you kids might not appreciate that, but your parents will. So this has to do with advice that parents always get, whatever. Well, first of all, if you have a kid, you're going to get enjoy it while it lasts. It goes so quick, and when you're doing it, it doesn't feel like it's quick. And you'll get whatever phase you're in, don't worry, it passes quickly. And that's true. It's when your baby's little, when you guys were little, you couldn't sleep, and your parents were up all night, and then you're teething, and your parents are up all night, and you're crying, and then your kids get older, they go to school, and maybe they have a bully, or then they grow up, they have homework, and they have heartbreak, and it doesn't ever stop. It just changes. But it's not just for parents with their kids. It's for kids too. It's like that for you. Maybe you're gonna have a bully, and that really sucks. And so Rowan was in a school that didn't have, in Charlottesville there, that didn't have homework, and we moved her to a school that has homework, and that was a transition. It kind of stunk, and I get it. So human beings, this is what we live with, right? Shakyamuni Buddha, the historical Buddha, he told us we have three truths. There's interconnectedness, we're all part of one big group, we're all part of life on this planet. There's impermanence, which is things dying, but it's also things just changing, like when you graduate and move to high school and it's harder or whatever. There's also dukkha, which roughly translates to suffering. So these are the three truths we live with as human beings, and I think that all beings, to some extent, all sentient beings, animals, what have you, they have interconnectedness and impermanence as well. They also have pain. But I think only suffering belongs pretty much to human beings because we do it to ourselves. The example I always use is imagine a lioness on the savannah, and she's having to hunt so she can feed her children, she can feed her cubs. And she lines up a gazelle and she goes for it and she misses. And she doesn't have as much energy for the next time, but what she doesn't do is go off into a corner and say man, I'm the worst lioness that ever was. I suck. That's the purview of humans only. I think that we do that we talk like that to ourselves. So what we might call enlightenment is the ability to see these three things in our lives and truly accept them. If we could do that, we would be a Buddha. If we were to say, we're all interconnected, and things change all the time, and I'm not going to let that make me suffer. I'm okay with it. We would be Buddhas. But we're not. We're human beings, right? But the thing is, we can try to remember that these things naturally occur in life. We can do our best to remember. That's our practice as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists. We try to just be aware. It's a practice of self-awareness. But there's this book that I have. If anybody wants to come closer, I'll describe it too. I had it on Cloud Reader at some point, but I never know if somebody has so I didn't bring my computer, but I'll describe what's happening. It's called You're Here for a Reason, and I think it's really good at talking about those three things. And it's a good book. So it says, you're here for a reason, you certainly are. The world would be different without you by far. If not for your hands and your eyes and your feet, the world like a puzzle would be incomplete. Can you see what that is? Any of the kids? It's a kite and an elephant with a little boy. Even the smallest of things that you do blossom and multiply far beyond you. So he's helping the elephant cross the street, and the kite's kind of flying away. A kindness, for instance, may triple for days or set things in motion in different ways. Do you see the kite? It travels much farther than you'll ever know, under the treetops, over the snow, till it's wandered. And if you can see, but that's the kite string or the ribbon. And fluttered and floated. It's an otter and there's the strings. And twirled, making things happen all over the world. You're here for a reason. It's totally true. You're part of a world that is counting on you. So don't be too worried if some days fall flat. Good things can happen even from that. See the ball. Life can be tricky, there isn't a doubt. You'll skin your knees trying to figure it out. But life works together, the good and the bad, the silly and awful, and happy and sad, to paint a big picture we can't always see, a picture that needs you, most definitely. Remember that, and the next time a day goes wrong, there's the ball. To somebody else, you will always be strong. And that ball that you lose or that kite you let go could make someone's day. You just never know. You're here for a reason. If you think you're not, I would just say that perhaps you forgot a piece of the world that is precious and dear would surely be missing if you weren't here. If not for your smile and your laugh and your heart, this place we call home would be minus a part. Thank goodness you're here. Thank goodness times two. I just can't imagine a world without you. Do you guys see it? I see it at all? Isn't it sweet? So obviously there's, interconnection in the book because, I don't know if you noticed, but like this little boy helps the elephant and then the elephant helps the goose. And there's impermanence because there's the kite flying away, but it breaks down and starts helping other beings. So I'm not sure if I see like suffering represented in the book because it's a book and it's a nice kid's book. But here on Earth, with us living our lives, if you were to lose $20 in the street, you might not, maybe someday, some days when you're in the mood, but you probably aren't going to go, maybe somebody else will get that $20 and it'll be really good for them. That's great. You probably wouldn't do that, right? It's really hard to do that. In life, things break down, they wear out, and that's impermanence. For us human beings, it's difficult to just say, things are impermanent and that's okay. Again, a Buddha would be able to see a $20 loss on one side and a $20 gain on the other and just say, oh, well, that happened. But as a human, it's hard to shrug when your team loses, It's hard to be genuinely happy for the team that won. But that's, again, the goal of our practice, to see our anger and greed and recognize it and hopefully, at least a little bit, see the world past the point of view of ourselves only. Because Amida Buddha is the representation of wisdom and compassion, but also of not having a human filter on. Not saying, I only want what's good for me. Amida Buddha would say, as a representation of true reality, whatever happens is something that happened. It's not good or bad. So in the end, as the book says, there really isn't any good or bad. There's just things as they are. That's a concept that Shinran Shonin called jinen, or naturalness. We are interconnected, things do change. We will feel disappointment and anger and loss, but we are always embraced by the wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha. So, if you'll join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namadats. Namadats. Sorry, I should have brought my computer. I should have brought my laptop.
We could have put the
I didn't know.
up.
I never know.
The next time we'll know.
Next time I'll know.
Yes, because I know there will be a next time, Stacey. So at this time, again, I'd like to thank Reverend Reardon for that wonderful message, and it's nice to know that we all have a reason to be here, and that guy cut us off as obviously he had to get someplace in more of a rush than we did on the freeway, so we could let it go. So at this time, kids, you get to go over to the classroom. I think you're preparing our otoki today. Is that what's happening? Okay.
Do you want to go or you want to
So-
stay? You want to stay?
Please go with Sumi Goto to the classrooms. Thank you. And now we get to hear Reverend Stacy talk to, although that was a message for all of us.
Yes.
But you are going to talk again?
Yes.
Okay, we get
Yes.
another message from Reverend
So
Reardon.
my kids are leaving, so they can't be my Greek chorus, so I'm going to ask you guys for some help. It's easy, don't worry. If you'll join me in Gasho at these words, this is Shinran's Gutoku's Hymns of Lament and Reflection. Each of us in outward bearing makes a show of being wise, good, and dedicated, but so great are our greed, anger, perversity, and deceit that we are filled with all forms of malice and cunning. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. So I wanted to thank you all for inviting me here, especially on Gotanye. I really like talking about Shinran Shonin. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share my appreciation of him. I feel like Shinran had a really deep understanding of human nature. He was pretty honest about his own limitations. He basically said, I know my brain is too full of blind passions and too messy to ever reach any type of spiritual peace on my own. That's why I turned to Amida Buddha. It's because of his mindset, his honesty about the limitations we deal with as human beings, being burdened by greed and anger and delusions, that Jodo Shinshu came into being. Shinran didn't set out to start a religion. He said, I don't have any followers. I just listen to the teachers that came before me, and this is what I think about what they said. And Shinran's thoughts, his writings, his interpretation of the Pure Land tradition that preceded him, it resonated with people so much that after he passed away, people kept it going, and that's what became Jodo Shinshu. And one of the things I really love about Shinran, I'm just going to throw out there, was something I feel was very representative of his kindness. Before Shinran, if somebody was dying and they were a Buddhist, they would, I don't know if you know this, the thing that you were supposed to do was stare at an image of Amida Buddha while nonstop saying the Nembutsu, Nam Amida Butsu, Nam Amida Butsu. And the fear was that if you weren't saying it as you died, you wouldn't end up in the Pure Land. So Shinran came along and he said, no, you don't need to do that. Shinran said, we are already embraced, never to be abandoned by Amida Buddha. We don't have to perform the Nembutsu to get into anybody's good graces. We already experience all the wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha all the time. We're already assured of rebirth in the Pure Land. And I can't imagine the effect this must have had for people. Dying is a natural process, just like birth, but to have this high level of unnecessary fear and stress while also facing the unknown, it must have been stressful, you know? So Shinran said, just be easy right now. You are seen, you're taken care of, you are safe. It had to have eased people's minds. I feel like it was such a kindness for people. And it wasn't, Shinran wasn't saying it just to ease minds or be kind. His interpretation of the Dharma was literally, we are all grasped, never to be abandoned. So there's nothing for us to do, nothing for us to perform. For Shinran, humans, again, too full of those blind passions, those angers, those delusions, to be able to bring about our own spiritual peace. We must rely on Amida Buddha. So if you're relying on Amida Buddha, you don't have to do anything else but that. So I wanted to talk about that because for me, it's a wonderful example of the ways in which Shinran innovated the Pure Land tradition that came before him, and in a way that made so much sense to people that they kept it going even after he passed away. But I also wanted to talk about a more recent problem in my life that illustrates my gratitude towards Shinran Shonin. For my regular day job, I work at an auction company. It's nothing exciting. It's industrial equipment that we sell. My boss's name is Tony. Tony inherited the company from his dad. He also inherited his business partner from his dad. His business partner's name is Steve. If my kids were here, as soon as I said the word Steve, they would go, Steve, because that's how he's known around our house. Steve really is the Dharma gift that keeps giving for me. I don't want to bog you down in the details of my job, but I'll just say that, so my boss Tony owns the auction house. Tony and Steve about 20 years ago started a finance company, so they loan money to people who have industrial equipment type companies. So I do the bookkeeping for this company, and they don't pay me very much for that. It's just like an extra thing. But I pay myself, because I'm the bookkeeper, twice a year. It corresponds with our property taxes. It pays our property taxes, right? So Steve is getting close to 80 now. He's turning 80 this year. He's had a couple of health scares lately and some body part replacement surgeries, as you do. He's been gone for months at a time for the last couple of years. So I'm not here to pick on somebody for aging. I'm aging. My brain is not what it used to be. We're all aging. But honestly, in my opinion, Steve wasn't working with much to begin with. That's why he's known around our house as Steve. As he's aged, he's gotten paranoid. He thinks that my boss, Tony, is stealing from him, from this finance company, and I'm helping Tony steal. I'm just going to say right now, we are not. We haven't stolen anything. It'd be a really stupid company to steal from anyway. There's hardly any movement, but it's just dumb. But because Steve thinks this, he demanded to be completely in charge of the company on his own, the only signatory on the checks. Because of the way the companies are structured, Tony still has to approve wire transfers, and that matters for this. So recently, he's been out for months recovering from a knee replacement surgery, and I needed to pay myself because property taxes were due. So I said to Tony, can we wire me the money? And Tony said, yeah, sure. We have to pay the lawyer too. Well, let's just do wires for those. So we do that, it's fine. So every month, I send Steve the financials for the company so he can keep watch from recuperating. So he calls me up after I send him the financials, and this is our conversation. So I noticed a payment to you, but I don't remember signing a check. Like really disingenuous. So I say, oh yeah, you weren't here, so we wired me the money. Yeah, we're not going to do that anymore in the future, just checks. No, I needed to pay my property taxes. I'm not going to default on them because you're not here. Ha, 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 ha. Okay, Stacy, but next time we're going to wait for a check. I've been there 20 years, so I can say what I want, just so you know. Again, no, you haven't been in months. The world doesn't stop because you can't come in. Okay, Stacy, but from now on, we're going to wait till I'm there to write a check. Again, no, we're not. If I have to pay myself, I'm going to pay myself. Okay, Stacy. And then he hangs up. And what I want to yell is, retire. It's time for you to retire. You can't do this anymore. Retire. It's okay. You can just do that. So I was mad, but my boss, Tony, was on vacation, and I wasn't about to interrupt his vacation. Luckily, I didn't have to, because Steve did. So Saturday morning, Tony calls me, and I say, did you butt dial me because we don't talk on the weekends? And he says, no, I'm livid. And I went, Steve? And he said, yes. Steve apparently called him to complain that we had done a wire transfer. So I think I've communicated this successfully. Steve is someone that makes me really angry. To quote the film Steel Magnolias, he is, for me, a boil on the butt of humanity. I could go on and on about all the mistakes he's made over the years, the times he's had the gall to publicly blame me for mistakes that he has made. He once almost bankrupted Tony's company out of sheer stupidity. All the ways in which he's made my life difficult. Why around our house he's known as Steve. But I would have said before this happened, he wasn't a bad person. A bad businessman, generally incompetent, irritating, the most condescending person I know with the least reason to be so, but not a bad guy. However, after this happened, I realized he really does think we're thieves. He really does expect everything to stop because he's not around. Is he a bad guy? What is a bad guy? A bad person? Are there bad people? What does Jodo Shinshu say about it? I realized that I was looking at Steve through my lens. I was looking at him as a factor that affects my life, which is all that we can really do. Human beings are almost incapable of manufacturing compassion, or at least the type of compassion necessary to accept other people with their flaws as they are. Accept other people even when they're irritating us. We can try to see other people's points of view, but our filters, our preconceptions, our expectations get in the way. I know it's not Steve's fault that he's aging, certainly, and that his mind is aging as well. It's not even his fault that he's incompetent at business. I mean, he's a mediocre, wealthy white man, so the patriarchy just pushes him along, you know? That's just the world we live in. It's not his fault he's paranoid that people are stealing from him. He apparently had a bookkeeper decades ago that did steal from him, so maybe he's wary, you know? The truth of it is that we are all afflicted by our causes and conditions, the things that make us who we are, our age, our situations, the world we're raised in, the people who raise us, the world we live in. To expect people to throw all those things off and somehow be different or better than their causes and conditions is expecting human beings to be like a Buddha. Steve's filters incorrectly tell him that Tony is stealing from him. What are my filters telling me about Steve that he would say is wrong? Shinran Shonin talked about the condition of being a flawed human being a lot in his collection of wasans called Gutoku's Hymns of Lament and Reflection. He says, each of us in outward bearing makes a show of being wise, good, and dedicated, but so great are our greed, anger, perversity, and deceit that we are filled with all forms of malice and cunning. He also says, extremely difficult is it to put an end to our evil nature. The mind is like a venomous snake or scorpion. Our performance of good acts is also poisoned. Hence, it is called false and empty practice. Shinran goes on and on like this in this collection, speaking of all the flawed aspects of human beings. It's my favorite of his wasans. It can seem bleak, like, wow, we're terrible, huh? But the point of Shinran Shonin's interpretation of Pure Land Buddhism is, on the one hand, it's not great, right? I mean, I have anger, I have greed, I get mad when I don't get what I want, and I feel bad a lot. But on the other hand, there's, it's okay. It's because I'm a human. This is how I evolved to be. These are my causes and conditions. And we have Amida Buddha, the great embodiment, the embodiment of great wisdom and compassion that illumines us all. Shinran also says in Gutoku's Hymns of Lament and Reflection, lacking even small love and small compassion, I cannot hope to benefit sentient beings. Were it not for the ship of Amida's vow, how could I cross the ocean of painful existence? Looking at things with this filter in mind, this filter of Shinran Shonin's interpretation of our reliance on Amida Buddha, it still doesn't solve my day-to-day problems with Steve. He's a pain. And my problems with him will undoubtedly echo into the future as his apparently refusing to retire, so I have to win the lottery or something, you guys. Get out of there. But looking at it this way helps me, because even if I struggle with generating compassion towards Steve, because of the work of Shinran Shonin, I know that Amida Buddha does not struggle to do that. Amida Buddha as the embodiment of all the wisdom and compassion that exists in the world. Amida Buddha as a symbol for not seeing things through a filter of good versus bad or right versus wrong. Amida Buddha is things just as they are, even flawed human beings, like myself and like Steve. We are allowed to exist as flawed human beings and still experience the wisdom and compassion and everything that the world has to offer for us. And that honestly makes me remember that Steve's likely not trying to ruin my life. He's dealing with his own causes and conditions. And when I think like that, it makes it more difficult for me to sustain a level of anger towards him that affects my own well-being, which is good. I don't want to live in endless cycles of anger every time I see him, you know? So maybe Steve is not a bad guy. Maybe no one is a bad guy. Maybe there are just situations that are less than ideal because of various causes and conditions. But if we can try to remember, myself try to remember, the all-encompassing wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha, we can let that be a filter that works in our favor in terms of how we view the world, even though we're just flawed human beings. And for that viewpoint, I am grateful to Shinran Shonin. If you can join palms together with me in Gassho and help me express my gratitude to Shinran Shonin on his birthday, I would appreciate it. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Reardon, for a very wonderful message. Remind us all to be ourselves and to not to use those filters. I think that's what you said. But next, we're going to sing together. So turn your book to page 156. It's Shinshu Shuka, and it's Reverend Ali is going to lead us in singing, and Howard's going to play the organ. Okay.
Sachi
つつ世のなりわいにいそうたりま Such wonder and gratitude I feel deep in my heart to hear and hold His words of truth and start to understand the path is here for us and it can lay our fears to rest. One cannot comprehend the joy I feel in Nembutsu. If you can put your palms together and repeat after me. Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
Thank you. Please be seated. Let's see. Well, at this point, I guess we're at the end of our Gotanye service. So let's see. Do we do announcements first or no? If there are no announcements, I'd just like to thank Alan Goto for our AV services in the back, Reverend Reardon and Reverend Ali for helping with the service, Kathy, who was here early to prep the temple hondo, and Howard for playing the organ, and Kyoko, Kyoko and Reverend Gibbs are at Nishi today, but she does always a wonderful job with our flowers. So my announcement is thank you for everybody for working so hard on our chicken takeout dinner yesterday. The next fundraiser, I believe, is bingo, so that's, hopefully you could all join us with that. Donna.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Donna Mitoma. It's great to see everybody here today. I am again promoting everyone to go and see Flower Drum Song at the Aratani Theater in Little Tokyo. It's being produced by East West Players. It is an extraordinary play. I'm going again to see it. Everybody I've talked to who have gone have just sung the praises of this company. Think about it. It's ending on Labor Day, or May 31st, so you don't have much time. Thanks.
Thank you, Donna. So if you have not had a chance to offer incense before you came in, please offer incense before you leave. And please join us in the classroom. We have a special otoki prepared by the Dharma school kids. And if you have a name tag, please wear it to the other room so we can see your names. Eventually, these name tags will be more permanent, and we'll make sure we have your emergency information on the back. But hopefully you have your name tags on, and leave it so I can make permanent ones for you too. Okay, so thank you very much, and thank you, Reverend Stacy. It's always so nice to hear different topics and different voices. So we'll be getting more guest speakers this next couple of years. Oh, I should say, if you want to hear more voices, there's a Southern District Buddhist Conference at Senshin. Is that end of May, Kathy? June 13th, and we have to send in the list. Please let Kathy know if you're a temple member or a BWA member. We will pay your registration. Okay, so please think about attending.